I grab the phone, jab blindly at the off button, throw it across the room, and scream at Thomas, begging him not to call anyone. Jesus, Hank, calm down. You need help. But I'm begging, shouting at him like a mental patient. Don't call. Please don't call anybody. You don't understand. Can't let them find me. Hank, look at me. Open your eyes. Why can't I call someone to help you? My sister. Your sister, Hank. My sister needs me. I need to go to her, and I can't help her if I'm in jail. Thomas rears back. Jail? What are you talking about, Hank? If you call somebody, they're going to lock me up. Please, I beg you, please, Thomas, please. My body heaves with sobs that I'm aware of this from a distance, like I see myself from the ceiling. Or maybe I'm one of the statue heads back up on its pedestal, intact and hiding the ugliness inside, looking down and seeing the truth. I'm just a lost boy who has done something too terrible to remember, a trespasser into a world where I don't belong. Thomas goes quiet, but finally says, Look, Hank, you can't stay here. The library's opening soon. I'll take you to my house and we'll figure this out, okay? I thank Thomas over and over, and he helps me to my feet, wraps one of my arms around his neck, and helps me walk outside to his motorcycle. He asks if I'm strong enough to hold on, and I say yes, just don't call the cops. We get on the bike, and I lean against his wide back, trying so hard not to pass out or fall off. And we ride for 5 minutes, or 50 minutes, or maybe it's 5 hours, and finally we're at his house and he helps me to his couch, and that's all I know. I am underwater, at the bottom of Walden Pond, buried in muck, weighed down by pockets full of rocks. Can't make my way to the surface, but it's okay because it's quiet here, peaceful. Maybe I'll stay forever. Now and then I sense people around me, trying to help me, trying to pull me to the surface. They touch my burning face and poke at my side, the place where Simon's knife sliced through my skin, and I scream, but the pond muffles the sound, keeping everything so quiet. It's okay to give in to the quiet. I am safe. Don't have to think about anything. Not now. Don't have to remember. Just rest. The remembering can come later. The facing up to things can wait. Henry stays with me every minute in my underwater sleep, sits on a white rock with his hair floating in the current, and talks to me. He looks a little older than the last time I saw him in a dream. Last time, he was clean-shaven, but now he has long sideburns that connect to a full dark beard. Henry helps me pass the time by quoting passages of Walden and tests my own twisted memory by having me quote some back. He tells me things about myself, but only the ones I can handle right now, he says. Just little things, like I was obsessed with Legos when I was a kid, and my favorite birthday cake was yellow with chocolate frosting. My best friend's name in kindergarten was Silas, but when I ask him to give me my name, he won't answer. Give it time, he says. Just give it all a little time. So I do. Now and then, a phrase floats in and out of my thoughts. Old King Cole was a merry old soul, and a merry old soul was he. I think it's a song or a poem or something, but it's important somehow. But why? Like the rest of my memories, its significance is always just out of my reach. Underwater, there is no time, and yet time passes, until I find myself restless with life under the dead leaves and pondweed and invisible jellyfish of Walden. I think you're ready, Henry tells me at last, and even though I'm scared to go back, I agree. The sun breaks through the surface of the water, tries to reach me with healing fingers of light. So I kick my feet and push myself back to the air and sunlight and life, ready now for whatever is next. Well, look who's back. Thomas sits in a small wooden chair, big arms resting on his knees, watching me. I'm in a blue-painted bedroom with a slanted ceiling, and the sun shines in the window, too bright. I squint against it, but notice the headache is finally gone. I sit up, too fast, see little bursts of light flashing in front of my eyes, then lean back against a pile of pillows somebody has tucked under my head. Whoa, easy, Hank. You're still weak, Thomas says. I'm wearing a white t-shirt I don't recognize and green plaid pajama pants, probably Thomas's. I lift up the edge of the shirt and see a square of gauze taped onto my skin. When I press on it, it's sore, but not on fire like it was. You had a nasty cut there. It got infected and you've been in and out of consciousness for about 24 hours. He tells me in a slow, calm voice so I can absorb it all. I almost gave in and took you to the hospital a couple times, but I figured we'd wait things out if we could. You were really adamant about that. A couple more hours, though, I would have taken you in, no matter what you said. A woman with short black hair and about 6 silver earrings in each ear comes into the room and hands a green mug of coffee to Thomas. Ah, you're awake, she says with a big smile like she knows me. She's probably 30-ish like Thomas, and pretty in a goth light kind of way. Her hand on my forehead is cool and smells like vanilla. I figured after the fever broke in the night, you'd be back among the living today. Hank, this is Suzanne. She's a friend of mine, and lucky for both of us, she's also a nurse. Hey there, Hank, she says, in this gentle voice exactly like you'd expect from a nurse. It took a whole lot of antibiotic cream and cold washcloths, but we finally got your fever and that nasty infection under control. Cold washcloths and clothes I didn't recognize. My legs twitch. This nurse lady probably saw me naked, and I wasn't conscious enough to remember it. I stare at a tiny diamond stud in the left side of her nose and think about this. We considered leeches, but they're hard to come by this time of year. I can tell Thomas says this to make Suzanne smile, and she does, although she rolls her eyes at me like we share a joke. So how you feeling, Hank, she asks, kinda like you got hit by a bus? I almost say no, it was more like a truck, but all I can do is shrug and nod like I've forgotten how to speak. Suzanne pats me on the shoulder like I'm her favorite patient. You must be starving, ready to eat something? I'm aware of the hollow place in my gut and find my voice. Yes, please. Great, I'll see what I can whip up for you in Thomas's kitchen. We listen to her footsteps descend the wooden stairs. Your girlfriend? I ask Thomas. He taps a fingernail on the green mug in his big hands, and his face reddens. It's kind of funny, this big, Harley-riding, tattooed guy blushing over a girl. Maybe. We've kind of bonded over this the past day or so I guess I can thank you for that. You're welcome, I say. Thomas clears his throat, and I know he's holding back, wanting to ask me why I have a knife injury, why I freaked out at the library, why I fell out of the sky and into his life a week ago. I just want you to know, he says instead, that I've been in trouble myself, Hank. When I was younger, I got on the wrong side of the law a couple times and had to learn some lessons the hard way. He pauses to check my response, but I don't know what to say. I vaguely remember babbling something about jail and begging him not to call the police, but he's going to wonder what kind of trouble I'm in, and I don't know where to start. How can I explain that the trouble that scares me the most is the trouble I've forgotten? I even did time, a couple years in prison, for breaking and entering. He pauses again. Maybe he's thinking if he opens up to me about his past, I'll do the same. I'm not proud of it. I was an angry, rebellious kid. I'm still a rebel, in my way, but I know now how to channel that energy. Breaking and entering is not as bad as Simon in the alley, assault and battery. Sure, it was self-defense, but would the police see it that way? And there are the crimes I might have committed before I woke up in Penn Station, and there's that other thing. Maybe you killed somebody. Did somebody hurt my sister? Did I kill the guy? Is that what I'm blocking out on? Anyway, I guess I'm just trying to say I understand, and if I can, I'd like to help. A guitar case is leaning against the wall in a corner of the room, and I focus on that instead of Thomas. I could use someone to trust, and I could sure use some help, but I'm not ready to ask for it. You play guitar? I ask. Thomas follows my gaze. He sets the guitar case aside, brushes away some dust, and lays it at the foot of the bed. He snaps it open, and inside is an old Telecaster with a butterscotch finish, gorgeous and in excellent condition. Wow, I say. Nice axe. Thomas picks it up, slips the strap over his shoulder, and plays a few licks. It's not plugged into an amp, so the sound is soft and tinny. Haven't played for a while, he says, twisting the pegs to get it in tune. But I was with a punk rock group in the 90s, one of the best times of my life. He strokes the body of the guitar like it's a woman and he's madly in love with her. This guitar helped me get through some really bad stuff, believe me. What kind of stuff? I'd rather talk about music and Thomas than answer any questions about myself. Thomas runs his fingers up the neck of the guitar, miming chords. Foster care from the age of 8, he says absently. Bounced around to 4 different homes by the time I was 18. He clears his throat, then pulls the strap off his shoulder and lovingly puts the guitar back in its red felt-lined case. Feeling like nobody wants you and you don't belong anywhere can make a person a little crazy, he says. Yeah. Just then, Suzanne comes in with a tray and sets it down on the bed next to me. It's just a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and some milk, but Thomas doesn't have much in the way of groceries around here, she says to me. Not that I'm a gourmet cook or anything, but that's just pathetic. I'm a bachelor, I don't need a lot, Thomas says with an easy shrug. Peanut butter, jelly, beer, what else is there? He latches the guitar case shut and sets it back in the corner. I'm hungry, so the sandwich tastes incredibly good, and the jelly is grape, which I've decided is my favorite. I'll never be able to eat the stuff again without thinking of that Ephraim Bull guy, father of the Concord grape. Suzanne goes back downstairs, and Thomas and I sit in silence for a couple of minutes, not looking at each other while I eat my sandwich. He jiggles his leg and peers out the window, chewing on a fingernail, trying to look patient and failing. So how did all of that change? I ask him, licking peanut butter off my thumb. Thomas stops jiggling his leg and turns toward me. Excuse me, how did you go from angry to... I wipe my mouth with a napkin and struggle for the right word. Not.